Hello, everyone. Happy Monday morning.
Why was I ready to say good afternoon? Happy Monday morning, everyone. Woo!
Yeah,
It's
yeah. So this is Eric Curry and Tsukuru Fors. And hi, Eric. How are you?
I am good. I am blessed. How are you, Sukru?
Yeah. Well, I have to say, I have to confess because yeah, because if I misspoke, it's because I didn't sleep well last night. But I am going to be okay. I promise. I may say something stupid, but hey, that's a small price to pay. Anyhow, yes.
Well, you didn't sleep. I slept a little too well, so maybe between the two of us, we're gonna
Okay,
make this work.
balances things out. It cancels each other out. Yeah. Okay.
Oh,
Shall we jump in?
let's
Or
get right into
okay,
it.
let's do that.
Let's give the people what
Okay.
they came for.
Yes. Oh, hi, Brandy. And I guess hi. Kay is actually listening to or watching the hearings, so she's not here.
Oh,
She just said hi. So hi. Yeah. All right. Let's do this. So Monday, June 13th. Okay. Public enemy number one. Howard Schultz again. Yeah, yeah.
the
Um,
sellout in chief. Wow, one of a very
the,
connected
the,
series of sellouts.
the thing is though, okay, what scares me about Howard Schultz over the years, I have to be honest, because this guy really believes, I think, believes in what he's saying, which is kind of scary. I mean, meaning that he believes that he is providing, this like wonderful, paradise for his workers, and he's a benevolent, management, CEO. I think he totally believes in that. That's what scares me about this guy.
Well, okay, I have a couple of things. Like, there's a school of thought that believes that like CEOs have to be sociopaths. I think that there's like certain CEOs and certain you get to a certain level, like you have to be sociopathic because you can't really care about your workers and your employees and you're running a profitable business and give share backs and your investors, blah blah blah. And then this guy, I can't get over the fact that Hillary Clinton was going to pick this guy as her Secretary of Labor.
Oh God, I
That's the
mean,
part that, like, that's what scares me. So, but here's the
yeah,
other thing I was going to say. The best liars, the best liars are the people who have convinced themselves that what they're saying is true.
that is true.
You know what
Yeah,
I mean? So
yeah.
like it's not about convincing the people, it's about convincing yourself that what the
Mhm.
bullshit that you're spewing is actually true and that's along the same lines of being a fucking sociopath, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, so Howard Schultz, I'll just give, everyone a little context. So he was being interviewed by the New York Times deal book. So this guy, the journalist, Andrew Ross Soking, who writes for Deal Book, was at the conference or policy deal book policy forum to be exact, and he was interviewing Schultz, and this article was from that interview, and actually there's a video about it too, which I guess we should have prepared to show you, but I don't. So if later anyone wants to look it up, please look it up. But so there was this segment where Howard Schultz was specifically asked about the unions, right? Because I mean, he is at this point he's like a known union buster. He hates unions, right? So
Yeah.
yeah. So the journalist, he asked Howard Schultz, okay, is there any way for Starbucks and the unions to coexist peacefully? Is there any way to for Starbucks to collaborate with the unions? And his answer was really a bizarre one, for me. And somebody actually tweeted about this too. Actually, the Starbucks worker who is unionizing, who is a union activist. So he said, well, I am not willing to. I mean, it's not verbatim. Forgive me. I'm just like giving you a summary. He essentially said, we are not willing to work with a third party. Okay, but it's your workers though. It's not a third party, and yeah. So, but anyway, let me just kind of read part of the article for people because it just blows your mind. But so
The other thing is that like this battling for the hearts and minds of workers, to me, why does that sound so much like this bullshit Joe Biden was spewing about battling for the heart and soul of America? Like,
oh God.
again, trying to make this like such a benevolent quest. Like, get out of here. Pay your workers.
Yeah, I know. Okay, so excerpt. So on why he returned. So little background. It's like it's his second time to return to come back to the post of CEO out of retirement, and he specifically was brought back to sort of talk to the workers because Uncle Schultz can talk to them. Okay, before I go to the quotes, okay, Eric, this is like what bothers me actually. Uh, being a Japanese, okay, so Japanese companies have been famous or notorious for being like a family, right? But in a kind of bad way. So it's kind of like it's a very um you know uh patriarchy um patriarchy kind of thing because see in Japan companies traditionally are seen as a family, so CEO is like a father figure and the
Okay.
workers are like children, right? So that's why like they talk to workers like they talk to their children, which is like totally wrong because your workers are like individuals, they are grown-ups and they have like their own agency, right? So, but anyway, so Howard Schultz, what bothers me about this guy is like he totally acts like a father figure, and that really creeps me out. He acts and speaks like his workers do not know any better. And he speaks like, oh, I am giving you all of this, and you are so ungrateful. And that's yeah, I've heard that from like Japanese management, business owners, like over the years a lot. But this guy really talks like that, so that bothers me. Anyhow,
Where are
so
they
yeah,
headquartered?
huh?
Where are they
Seattle,
headquartered?
Seattle.
Oh.
Yep, yeah. Along with Microsoft, and well, Microsoft's a little outside of Seattle, but Amazon, and yeah, anyway. Yeah. So on why he returned, I came back to reinvent the role and responsibility of a public company at the time where there's a cultural and political change with regards to the crisis of capitalism, the needs, requirements of the employee in the company today. I don't want to be critical, but I have to be honest that the government in many ways have left people behind. If you call thousands
No
of
shit.
people I know who are working for a paycheck today and you ask them about economic mobility and specifically about the promise of country, for the most part, they are going to say it's not available to me. And if you ask people, unfortunately, who are black or brown, they're going to say without question, it's not available to me for the most part.
Oh,
If
wait, this is
we,
him writing this, right?
well, no, this is Schultz speaking.
Right. This is
Yeah.
Shaw. Oh my
Yeah, it
god.
shoots words. Yeah, yeah,
Wow.
yeah. Yeah, so that's why. Okay, so that's what I said about like what scares me about this guy is like he believes in this shit, you know. And okay, so Howard Schultz came from a really poor background. He grew up in the project, so he's like sort of like a self-made man. So that part, okay, yeah, okay, but I just feel that like so given that background, that statement coming from him and Starbucks and its management being what it is right now, it's just really, I mean, it's just disgusting. It's a huge slap in the face, for the
I'm sorry.
workers.
Can you still see me on the screen?
Yeah, I can actually. We all can probably. Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
I
I'm not
can.
sure why I lost this. Well, I lost the screen for some reason.
Oh,
Oh,
it's
there we
weird.
go. Okay, I'm back. I'm fine.
Okay.
Um,
So yeah. Okay.
ha-
So on why this was what you were referring to, on why he opposes unionization. Let's see. Okay. Starbucks, unfortunately, happens to be the proxy of what is happening. We are right in the middle of it. If a company as progressive as Starbucks, that has done so much and is at the 100th percentile in the entire industry for benefits for our people, can be threatened by a third party, that means that any company in America can. Now, I've said publicly I'm not anti union, but the history of unions is based on the fact that the companies in the 40s, 50s, and 60s abused their people. We are not in the coal mining business. We are not abusing our people. But the
oh my
sweeping issue in
God.
the country is that business are not doing enough, and the business is the enemy. We don't believe that the third party should lead our people, and so we are in a battle for the hearts and minds of our people.
Oh my God. What a bunch of nothing. Like,
Yeah,
oh my God.
mm, yeah. Anyway, yeah.
Oh,
So
I see where that stupid phrase is coming from.
where
The hearts and minds of our whatever, dude. Let's move on to the. I'm sorry. Just
you have to,
it's really like it's really not that complicated. You should pay your workers a living wage, and you know damn well that you're not. And
right.
the really interesting thing is that I see this as like there's a huge opportunity for business for big business right now to
Mm,
like the one business or the few that step away and actually start to pay their workers well, give their workers right, starts to be like some kind of model industry,
mm,
can really cause a bit of ruckus right now and make a huge name for themselves and let that be the biggest marketing play ever. At least that's the way I see it. I really do. But like, I don't know. I see this corporate greed that's so rampant as I walk through like against Soma Mission Bay, and the gas is almost $8 a gallon. I'm not even kidding you.
yeah.
I took a picture, and I'm just
Mm,
like,
yeah. You know what though? I know you want to move on, but let me just say
no,
this
no,
one
no. I
thing,
mean,
because I tweeted about this actually, but so as a business consultant, former business consultant,
you
I
still do a fair amount of it yourself. I mean, still, right?
yeah, well, yeah, I mean independently, but so I've talked to so many business owners in the past for my 21 years of life, and so and fortunately I associated myself with a lot of like good owners and good management people. And why do I do this, quote unquote, is that because for the most part even the good ones hate unions. I've heard like time and again that like perfectly the top management people or business owners who are actually doing the right thing by their workers, but they say, yeah, they don't like unions, they are against it. If they are doing the good thing, if they are doing right by their workers, and also like if there's a trust, that's a huge word, trust between a company and the workers, the unions, there shouldn't be the need for unions, right? So that's what they say for the most part. I would say like probably like 95% of business owners and top management people say that. I beg to differ. I'm a actually firm believer that regardless of what you are doing currently, um I think workers uh should have the right to
Absolutely,
unionize.
100%.
Yeah, because
Even if the relationship is good, well, then the relationship with the union should be good as well.
right, exactly. Because see, the thing is though, between the company and the individual worker, there's a huge imbalance of power. So you know,
Right.
um, workers need to have a collective bargaining power,
Right. Shoot. Yeah.
so
No. Absolutely. The thing, again, not to be like, or not to be like that guy, but the other thing I hear from the workers' point of view is that sometimes they don't always agree with 100% of what the union stands for and what the union fights for. And then the union, what people don't realize is that they have to pay union fees. And
right,
oftentimes you don't get an option whether you want to be in the union or not. Is
right.
that always the case? That it's or is it sometimes optional? I have very limited experience as an employee, if I had to be honest. I've never been in a union.
Right, right. Yeah, I am actually not. I have to confess, I'm not like really an expert on unions either. But
Because I remember
um,
my mom said like it wasn't like she had to join the teachers union, like that wasn't an option being in San Francisco Unified School
right,
District.
right. Like entertainment industries like that. If you're not part of the union, you don't get a job, right?
Oh, SAG
Yeah,
after, right, right.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh.
Although maybe there's a loophole because I have a friend who. Anyway, yeah, anyway, yeah, yeah.
There's always under the table
Yeah,
deals,
yeah,
right?
yeah. But for the
Always.
most part, if you're like getting a legitimate job, yeah, you have to be in the union for entertainment industry. Like there's a little bitty s- um segmented unions for everything. Like set builders, animators,
Right.
and like whatnot. So yeah, yeah. Okay, let's move on. Okay. Oh wait, wrong one. All right. So
Bye, Howard.
okay, God, I had sort of mixed feelings about this too, actually, to be very honest. But so this is actually by a fellow veterans for peace, somebody who I personally know, Michael Wang. Um, he is, I believe, the leader of BFP China Group in San Francisco Bay Area. So that's he wrote this article. Um,
Wait a minute. Is this the gentleman that I met in front of
yeah,
Pelosi's?
yep,
I
yep.
know exactly who this is. He born and raised in San Francisco.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
very, very well respected guy. Yeah, yeah,
And and like kind of soft spoken.
yep. Hmm.
I know exactly who this is. So, um, I have been saying this for some time now, and Tsukuru knows this, that I very firmly believe that Biden wants to start a war with China. I am 100% convinced of that fact. It was an essential part of my congressional campaign. And it's like immediately after he won the presidency, he just started throwing in Beijing this and competition with that, and throwing in little things, not quite to the extreme language that Trump would use, but him and Nancy Pelosi very much stoke anti-Asian sentiment.
Yeah.
Again, they don't use China virus and these other things, but the day that I met Michael, was that Michael Wang?
Wang.
The day that I met Michael Wong
Hmm.
and Judge Tang, actually, who used to serve on
Hmm.
the Supreme, if I'm not mistaken, the Superior Court here in San Francisco,
Yeah.
outside of Nancy Pelosi's neighborhood, the Chinese community that gathered there, which was a significant number, mind you, up in the
Hmm.
hills of Pacific Heights, right?
Hmm.
Um,
Hmm.
were enraged about
Hmm.
the rhetoric that the
Yeah.
speaker was using, that the speaker is using, because what people really need to realize is that any time the president of the United States or the leadership, the Democratic leadership, Senate leadership, congressional leadership, etc., anytime they speak negatively in any way about any of the other countries on the planet, the residents of those countries that are living here, the immigrants of those countries that are living here in the United States, are the ones that suffer.
Hmm. Hmm. Yep. Exactly. 100%. And I mean, see, I said this before, but okay, sorry, I apologize because I was thinking about two important things at the same time, so I lost one. But um, yeah, okay. So here's the thing, though. So you touched on this, Eric. But so Trump slash Republicans, used like inflammatory words and kind of stupid words like China virus or Kung Fu virus, right? To like instigate fear and hate. But what Democrats are doing right now, the party leaders are doing, Biden, Nancy, is that actually they are legitimatizing. I mean, so their rhetoric is that they have the legitimate cause, legitimate reason to be fearful of China, right? So, like, case in point, I told you about like last year, I think Jackie Spear, the
Yeah,
yeah,
the meeting she
congresswoman
set up with the because
in the San Francisco Bay Area. Another one. Yeah, so she has this newsletter that she sends out to her constituents, like monthly letter, and she always has like this like book recommendations, like not Nancy, Jackie's list, whatever. So one of the books that she recommended was written by a known right wing, think tank, and it's essentially instigating war with China. So I was in the meeting too. BFP people, we kind of like jumped on the email phone, to request a meeting, and we had a meeting with not Jackie Spear herself, but her aide. And but the thing was though, we requested that they withdraw that recommendation and actually replace. We actually proposed another book who does talk about like what China's doing, human rights violations and whatnot, but I mean,
what
written,
look who's
yeah, I mean,
speaking.
written from neutral perspective. So we recommended that, let's replace, that right wing book with this. Their answer
Oh, I
was
see.
that no, we won't do it because there's a legitimate reason. So the difference between two parties is like Republican, I guess they are doing like public hate speech, but I mean, Democrats like really legitimize, their hate speech. I mean, that's the that's the difference between two companies, in my eyes, So
In my eyes, the way that the Republicans were going about it, specifically Trump, and was very much performative. The man is a reality
yep,
TV show host. Like, people
I
can argue
agree.
this with me. I don't think he is as hateful and racist as he comes off. Don't get me wrong. I think he is, but I think like he would like by choice choose these extreme inflammatory words that he wouldn't otherwise use. That it more is more a combination of like, what the hell, this is coming out of the president's mouth, and then, oh my god,
Mhm.
I can't believe he said that, all at once.
Right, right,
Whereas again, yeah, what you and I would argue that the way that the Democrats do it is a lot more harmful and a lot more dangerous.
yep,
I just
you know,
I can't get over the like this is like, if we start a war with China, this is all bad. Like, this is just no, 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 no. We do not
mhm,
win in Asia. That's the what, like, we can't do this. And what scares me is that there's a huge camp here in San Francisco within the Asian community that they actually think a war with China would be a good idea too, or that they're worried about China because I've heard this said over and over again by sometimes
mhm,
fellow Chinese people, or Chinese people, I shouldn't
yeah,
say fellow, like, oh,
right,
we have to worry about China because they're calculating that exact terminology, and I'm just like,
mhm,
why on earth can we not take the stance that like we should partner? Why on earth
mhm,
can we not be friendly with some of these world economies that are doing groundbreaking things for their people, groundbreaking things for the
mhm.
climate? Like, why on earth are you going to keep poking the bear? Why on earth are you going to keep like, I mean, we don't. That's what we do. We don't know any better. That's all we do is go and start
Mhm.
wars all over the place. And there's very few places where we haven't had some substantial military involvement.
Right, right.
But this is
Yeah,
just
the
this is a
thing is though,
horrible idea.
yeah, I mean, I agree. I mean, okay, so the thing is, I think um United States, I mean, the United States slash Biden administration is very, very fearful they are very, very scared that the United States is losing their economic, power and economic clout, which we are, because we are not like the only number one anymore. I mean, China is like way up there too. Like we are kind
Right.
of like competing with each other, like really directly competing with each other, for the number one, the seat of number one economic power in the world. So we want to like overpower them with military force, right? Because we can't win with economic power anymore. So, but I mean, okay, so things like, okay, China is, because China has a lot of money to invest now, and also like they are smart, like they're investing in a lot of like foreign countries like Africa, as a lot of
Think,
people know.
oh,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
smart
yeah.
investment. Afghanistan, yeah, they're investing, they're providing infrastructure, uh what's
Oh
their
my God,
intention
that's
behind
really
it, that's
smart.
another story. Okay, I mean, because I'm not I guess what I'm trying to say is like, what? Yeah, okay. So what's their intention behind it? Are they just doing out of their good hearts, or just like U.S. did, like way back when? They want to, like, they want clout. So maybe that's why they're doing it. But either way, either way, it's kind of like it's very hypocritical for the United States to say, oh, they are doing these things, because they want to take over the world, because we did that too.
Right.
We have done it over the
Right.
years, right? Yeah,
100%.
yeah. And actually, Michael make a very good point. He makes a very good point in this article. So his main point is that, so Taiwan, whatever people's opinion may be, we have individual opinions, right, about Taiwan. Taiwan currently is part of China, and for us to intervene is like saying, okay, so it's like, the example he uses is that
They're not
it's
a
like,
separate country?
no, they are part of, I mean, they have been annexed, so that's why, but I mean, they are, part of China, right? So the what
God.
Michael says, okay, so I'm saying this as, granted, people have their personal opinions, but the example he uses, that it's like China saying, oh, Hawaii should be a separate country because you way back when, like, went over there to annex Hawaii into the United States. So we support Hawaii as an independent nation, so therefore we will intervene in your domestic policies
That's a
and
really
attack.
good way of putting it.
Yeah,
That's an excellent way of putting it.
you know so I mean, God, I
But of
know
course,
people have
but
like
it's
emotional
different.
issues, but
No, but Sukru, it's different when the United States does it because we always go. We're the world's. We go and we're the world's savior. We go and save all these different
like,
little countries like
you
Ukraine.
no. Yeah, I laugh because like way
Because
back
what
when,
else are you
like
gonna
I was in,
do?
yeah,
What?
I mean, growing up in Japan, I always thought United States like totally behaved that way, and it really bugged me. Like, like, I mean, United States acts like the Superman of the universe, right? I mean, it's like, okay, like we go and save the world. I mean, that's rhetoric that they
Right,
use,
but your
anyways.
people are freaking like how many of your people are out on the streets? Like,
Yeah.
oh yeah,
See, take care of
exactly.
take care of our own people first. You know.
And what Brandy's saying is 100% true. Russia will back
Yeah.
China. Absolutely.
Oh God. Yeah.
100 or vice versa.
Yeah. So then we have the World War III on our hands, which I don't even want to speak about. But you know,
The thing is, Ukraine is losing this war, and we're just dumping all this money down the toilet. It's another fucking Afghanistan.
because, okay, well, I don't know. I mean, I don't know, like, if my logic or if my theory is 100% legit. Things probably are more complicated than that. But I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, American defense contractors, weapons manufacturers are, raking in the dough right now. And, that's
That's what
what
I'm
all
saying.
they
They
care
want
about.
this war. They want
Yeah,
this war to last forever. They
yeah.
want this war to just continue going, which it probably will, with all these dumbass Americans and walking past the Salesforce tower with the freaking blue and gold. And it's not the Warriors, it's the freaking
Mm.
Nazis. And again, Ukraine is losing. But we're just gonna keep funneling this money because it keeps a few people rich. And I don't know. I'll be damned if we do a draft. That's all I know.
Oh fuck. Okay.
I'll be damned
Yeah.
if we do a draft. Like I shouldn't be saying this on the record, but I'm whatever I have to be to not be like I'm not gonna go fight in this stupid war. This
No,
you this
no one should. No one
no one
should.
should.
Yeah. No
No
one
one
should.
should.
Yeah. It's interesting. Okay, not interesting, but like the fact that you just said Afghanistan, because it's like this is like really similar to what we did in Afghanistan if you think about it, because like
Yeah,
yeah,
100%.
training fighters, the US military training fighters, like that's exactly what they're doing in Ukraine right now. um because like I guess we want to groom them to fight for us with Russia, right? I mean, but what at what cost? I mean, look at like how we fucked up. I mean, how we fucked up Afghanistan. You know, and okay, the thing is,
El Salvador, Yemen, Somalia,
yeah,
Libya.
yeah. And the thing is, though, okay, so I just came to my mind. Maybe like we have to talk about this like sometime, but now, okay, here's the thing: when we withdrew the troops from Afghanistan, like people all over it, like people talking about it because like we were concerned about what happens to women, we were concerned about what would happen to people of Afghanistan. Okay, but we do not talk about it anymore.
I
It's
know.
it's like we forgot. But do you know what's happening over there right now? I mean,
It's horrible.
it's horrible.
It's
It's
absolutely
horrible.
awful. It's
and
got
and,
and
and it's not
we
because
caused
of
all of that.
Taliban per se,
Right.
because of the sanctions that we place. I mean, it's horrible.
They're
People are
like they're
dying.
starving, right?
Yeah,
There's people literally dying every day of starvation because of what we did there. It's absolutely horrible and awful.
it really bugs me. So that bugs me because, like, on one hand, like we say things like, "Oh, we withdraw our troops and we are just concerned about people, women of Afghanistan, because like now, what's gonna happen to them."
My mom
While
was really
we
upset
place
too.
sanctions on them and starve them to death.
I know. I know. And how do these people you can't do this and be human. But I remember I know. Yeah, exactly. We took all their I remember talking about this with my mom, and like, wasn't there footage of like the president? He just left with suitcases of money, and the money was like falling out of the suitcases. And I forgot where he found asylum, but if I'm not mistaken, it was like the Arab Emirates or something. Like he got the fuck out of there, and
God.
like the Taliban, it was like a matter of days. Like, oh my God, I remember that was like the first major thing of Biden's presidency, or at least that's what it felt like, was we got all the troops out, but like the Taliban took over in like a matter of days. Like, how the fuck? Like, how are you that stupid? How on earth, after us being there for 20 goddamn years, do you have such a failure of a transfer of power? And I just remember thinking, like, are people not catching on at this point? Like, all the money that we've shoved down there, that we literally flushed down the toilet. What was it? 300 million a day? A day? And you're telling people we can't have healthcare here?
Right. Yeah,
Was it
yeah.
300 or 100 million? Whatever.
And okay, so I don't want to get into this like too deep because like this is not our main topic today, but Like we would just talk about it sometime. So again, like I have like another foot in Japan still, right? Because I'm originally from there, so I'm exposed to like what they report over there and what people say. I mean, leftists in Japan say. So whatever the U.S. media report about Taliban, we want to take it as with a grain of salt,
Right. 100%.
because okay, so yeah, Taliban, yeah, okay, they have issues like, okay, so women's rights, yeah, okay, but as far as I know, from Japanese media, or who there was this doctor who did like humanitarian work in Afghanistan for like decades, and he actually was unfortunately shot and killed accidentally. But he was like this like super well respected man in Afghanistan. If you go to Afghanistan and mention his name, like everyone knows his name, because yeah, he was like very well respected. But anyway, so as far as I hear from like reports, that he made in the past, and associated, stories, Taliban is not all bad. And so that brings a question of like,
I think
okay,
I
so
remember
yeah,
this.
the US intervention, well, we act like, again, like, you said it, Eric, like we act like the savior of the universe, and go into other countries to fix things. But I mean, I don't know. We just have to be very, very careful, like what to believe. Whatever our media reports, it's not the whole truth. So, um, yeah. Are you there, Eric? You
Yeah, I'm
look
here.
okay. Okay, right.
No. Yeah, I know. Another disaster that we caused ourselves, but of course we don't talk about that here.
No, we
9
quickly forget.
nine
Like it's
11.
just amazing how quickly we forget.
Oh, I know.
Um.
What's
All
our
right.
next?
So. Oh God. Okay. You wanna take this one, Eric?
So Saturday, a couple of days ago, was the National March for Our Lives. This is a national movement of Gen Z and Gen X primarily getting out in the streets. If I'm not mistaken, it's led by the survivors of the Parkland shooting
Yep.
in
Mm,
Florida. I only know the one guy's name, and I don't want to say it because I'll be honest, kind of rubs me the wrong way. But anyway, um, I was actually invited to speak at the one here in San Francisco, and unfortunately, I wasn't able to make it. But just in the wake of literally a freaking mass shooting, sometimes multiple every damn day, what on
mm,
earth is it going to take for our elected officials to finally do something about gun violence in the United States? And so apparently the senators reached a bipartisan consensus on a bill, and it's honestly a bunch of BS because it does not include three important aspects, or like three non-negotiables, which
mm,
is raising the age to 21, assault weapons ban, and enhanced background checks. Like, I don't understand why those three things, you cannot write a bill, or write anything that's going to substantially effectively take on this issue of gun violence without including those three things.
mm. Yeah. God. Um.
Like,
Yeah.
what is
I don't
going
know
on
what
with
to say.
her?
Yeah.
No, there's nothing to like. Again, as you see, rarely am I at a loss for words, but it's like,
Mhm.
what do you even
Yeah.
say?
Yeah. It's again, breadcrumbs, right? Breadcrumbs that we always talk about. So like this was sort of like a response, to, or I don't know if it's a direct response, because I'm sure like they've been talking about this for days,
That's the
but
way that they're framing it, as a response to
yeah, to the
Buffalo
to
and
the march.
Uvalde,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
Those
Right.
two.
But I mean, it's like, okay, so it's like this, now, like, okay, people on the streets, people are mad, people are disturbed, they want us to do something. Okay, so let's just give them this like little concession, you know. Yeah, that's like that's what it looks like to me. And it's just very upsetting because it's like, yeah, again, like our concerns, people's concerns are not taken seriously, um yeah,
And
we
neither
just
are our lives.
right, right, yeah.
And that's part of my issue with the guy's name who I'm not mentioning, is that he's a shill for the Democratic Party who, again, I'd argue is worse than the Republican Party. Like, we know exactly who the Republicans are. They come out, they say it, but these Democrats act like they're the saviors, like they come in to help, to fight for the people, and they don't do a goddamn thing.
Mm,
They don't
mm,
do a goddamn thing. And like, I don't even want to go down this rabbit hole of like what's latest stupidity that Biden said, like, oh, who was it that said, oh, this is just something we're gonna have to accept, or oh, it's just something like what on, like, 19 kids, dude, 19 kids, you, like, these people are not human anymore at all.
mm,
And yeah, think about it, the children of all the politicians go to private school. This isn't a worry for them. And they're bought out by the NRA,
mm,
right? The NRA lobbies hard to
mhm,
keep guns
mhm,
out on the streets, and it's disgusting because every time there's a mass shooting, it's like a huge marketing campaign for the NRA, essentially, for the next
mhm,
sicko, the next crazy. The other part that I have issue with is that they're really centering their response on Buffalo and Uvalde.
mhm,
I'm not pronouncing it right? And the thing is, in between those two shootings, there
yeah,
were several dozen, if not at
mm,
least a dozen between those two shootings that happened,
yep,
you know?
yep, mhm,
And
yep,
every time this happens, they're leaving behind a whole community literally shell shocked,
mm,
traumatized. And
mhm,
that, like, there's no words. There's no words. There's no
yeah,
words because what this moment requires is action.
mhm, yeah. I agree with you. I just can't understand why this country at least can't ban assault weapons. Who needs that? Let me ask you, who needs that? I mean, yeah.
Like, why can't this not be a moment, like, honestly, for the American people to sit back and realize, like, wow, they will literally kill all of us, because they literally will, like, they will kill all of us before, like,
See, it's insane. Hi, I don't know who you are, but another agnostic. Thank you so much for tuning in. And Ohio just passed HR 99 that will put more guns in schools and reduce training requirements. God,
so
fuck.
that's another thing that people are talking about, is that the solution to this is to start arming teachers, which is, again, another win for the NRA because you're putting a lot more guns out there.
Right.
Teachers,
Yeah.
anyway.
Mhm. That's so, yeah, that's so wrong at so many levels. And I don't have to say it. Other people are saying it plenty. It's just that, just that it's not doing anything to influence our politicians who are making important decisions for us, or who should be making important decisions for us. So
Are you familiar with the assault weapons ban that happened during Bill Clinton's presidency?
I'm not.
Because I know that it drastically, like, the numbers are huge, reduced the number of mass shootings uh,
Hmm.
with assault weapons. Um, but my question is, and I should have done my research, is that something that he passed through executive order, or did that have to go through Congress?
Hmm.
Because I mean, I don't have any hope in Joe Biden anymore. So you really can't laugh at people who believe in Santa Claus, because there's a lot of idiots that still believe in Joe Biden. So I guess it doesn't really matter anyway because he's such a useless thing. But that's the other, like, it's so crazy. We have data, there's evidence about, how to actually solve this or how to start
Mm.
working towards a solution, and we just won't do it.
Yeah, I just don't. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I mean, we talked about this before, so I don't have to repeat myself. But what just kind of worries me that, again, I'm from Japan, so some of the things that American culture, that parts of American culture or society, societal values, like really stand out to me. And one of the things that Americans like to say is like our rights, right? And I respect that because Japanese, frankly, do not do that enough, in my opinion. So yeah, I mean, I do like that part of this nation that like people are concerned about their rights. However, having said that, rights to arm ourselves, rights to carry weapons. Well, I mean, okay, so if you are like hobby, like if you hunt for hobbies, like for instance, okay, yeah, okay, I guess you are entitled to have a gun, I suppose. But I mean, this rhetoric about, okay, so there are so many mass shootings out there right now I have to arm myself. So like you can't, the government can't take my rights away to arm myself. That feels like to me is a like huge and very very wrong vicious cycle.
You nailed it. That's exactly what it is. It's a slippery slope and a vicious cycle all at once, because every time this happens, it creates somewhat of a dilemma. And look, here's the thing. You can't avoid the facts. There are more guns out there than people.
Yeah.
Okay? So you ignore that fact at your own risk at this point. So yeah, it kind of does create the question. It creates a scenario. I'll be honest, it's something goes through my mind like, okay, is this the point where I arm myself because there's only so many weapons out there? Or
Mm.
because there already are so many weapons out there. Like I visited my friend in Arizona not too long ago. We have our California privilege, but you can literally drive up and get
Mm.
alcohol and then drive on the next corner and get a rifle and it's so easy, they don't even check your license.
God. See, I mean, God, that's scary. That scares me. I mean, really does scare me. Yeah, yeah. To be honest, okay. So now we are approaching kind of the last part of our news segment. So we kind of talk about actions, but so there was this People's Summit, right? I don't know if people know about this, but so actually, okay. Let me go back. So there was the Summit of the Americas that Biden hosted, of all places in Los Angeles, of all places.
Dumbass.
Um. Oh, okay. So yeah, yeah.
The thing is,
God,
I
I mean,
agree with this. At
I
least
do. Yeah,
training.
yeah. God,
At
I
least
know, I
training.
know, I
I'm
know.
sorry. I think that's at this point, yeah, I agree.
A lot of people saying that, and I'm so torn. I'm so
You know,
torn.
you know
I
what
I
the
hear you. I hear you.
you
Whoever
know
you
what a
are.
really good point my friend was
Yeah.
making is that um whenever there's more training, as far as as far as just the logistics of using a gun, which shit, I'm a city boy, I have no idea how to use a gun, no idea what, so I've never had a
Mm,
gun, like I don't go anywhere near that, right? But when you
right.
actually learn and go through the training, the number of like accidental shootings like is non that just never happens.
Mm,
There are no accidental shootings, and the number of gun violence actually goes down when the
mm,
training increases.
mm.
So that is something to consider.
God. Yeah. Yeah. So
That's,
yeah.
I mean, what you
Actually,
can
this.
ignore the reality at your own risk.
Yeah, no, actually, this touches on what I was going to talk about. So yeah, so Biden's Summit of the Americas, which was a huge failure, happened last week, 8th to 10th. Uh, yeah, it's like at this point, like who was talking about that? But anyway, yeah. So like he disinvited. He chose to disinvite Nicaragua, Venezuela, and Cuba, and pretended that we have the summit of the Americas, excluding these three countries, and Mexico boycotted because blah. And but anyway, so we had a sort of protest summit called People's Summit. Bunch of us leftists got together, and on the last day we marched to the convention center where the summit was being held. Okay, so I mean, with this crowd of people, maybe a few hundred, and somebody speaking in the front, and there was okay. So I was kind of like, not very, not to the very front, but I mean pretty close to the stage. So out of blue, out of nowhere, this woman shows up, and she does not carry any signs or nothing, and feels like she's like really out of place, and she's like looking down at her purse,
Oh
like,
God.
and she is, and also like she is. So she was like right there with me, but now she moves to the front, like while this was going on, and yeah, like she moves to the front and the middle of the crowd. So I'm like looking at her, like really alarmed and really scared because like her behavior did not seem right to me,
Oh my.
and she's like looking at the cell phone, this like flip phone, like nobody has nowadays. And so I'm like, okay, flip phones. Flip phones are actually what like drug dealers use because it's not trackable. Right? So I mean, all these thoughts are going through my mind. Call me crazy, but my point though, nothing happened. Okay, she was just okay. I guess one of us, right? But that's the reality of it. Like you mentioned it too. Like we are all scared, and we are all like in the back of our minds, we are all thinking, where would be the next mass shooting, and if I'm gonna be affected, right?
I told you about the moment we had yesterday after the Too Short concert where my friend got up and ran because she was convinced that this guy was a mass shooter. And I told you I had this moment where I was like, again, a part of it is the privilege we have living in California, specifically San Francisco. Like we have better leadership here, but a little more competent leadership here. And I decided some time ago that I'm not going to live my life in constant fear of the next mass shooting.
No.
I refuse.
I mean, I'm with you because like, okay, so we go to like a bunch of protests and stuff like that too.
Yeah, right.
It's a prime target. I mean,
Right.
let's face it. Now I'm talking about organizing this like alternative pride in July, and I mean many people actually have talked to me. Like, okay, so what's the security plan? We have to have a security plan because let's face it, that's a prime target. And but if we are just really afraid of that, yeah, I mean, we can't organize protests anymore. We can't go out to protest, and that's not the kind of life that I would like to live.
I'm not going to stop my activism. I'm not going to stop my activism because of the fear of mass shootings, and I hope I don't regret that decision. But that's a decision that I've made.
Yep. Yeah, I was gonna mention. Did you hear about this, Eric?
Yeah, I did hear about it.
Yeah.
Wow, what do you know? They actually found they caught some people.
Yeah.
Or they did their job ahead of time before they were able to do any damage. Great.
Yeah.
Cool. You want some goldfish? If only you did if only this happened more often, maybe some of these other people would still be alive. Is this our last story? I'm sorry.
I think so because
Okay.
it's like, yeah. Oh wait,
Oh.
I totally forgot. But yeah, we have like yeah.
No, this is the perfect thing to close on because I wanted to leave it really, really, really lighthearted.
You're like
although
all quiet. Okay, so there's this stupid plan. Yeah, I'll just call it stupid. So
It's incredibly
I
stupid.
know they want to build a gondola. Yeah, LA. Okay, LA at Dodger Stadium. So it's like it's there's like this station called this like a central station called the Union Station. Where like a lot of Amtrak arrives there.
That's where they want to
Greyhound
put it.
buses. Hmm?
That's where they want to put it.
Yeah. Union Station to the Dodger Stadium.
Oh my
So
god.
there's like no other purpose for it. I mean, okay, so it's aerial gondola. So yeah, there's no purpose for it. It's like sole purpose of this gondola is just like to shred people back and forth between
That fits
Dodger
like what,
Stadium
6
and
people? How many freaking people does a gondola fit? Like 8 maybe, if you're lucky.
like 10, 15, I guess. Yeah. Yeah.
Son of a bitch. This is the most stupid thing I've ever. Well,
Yeah.
okay, you know what? If he wants it, this should be a very open and shut case of Mr. Whatever his name is, McCourt. He can
McCourt.
he can
Yep.
pay for it himself, and he can pay for all the security and all the operating costs, and that's it. Period. He got the money. It's benefiting
Yeah.
him. It's going to cause what? It's going to cause a huge, rise in Dodger tickets and all that, and merchandise and income revenue. So, you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
Like
So I mean,
he'll
Metro's LA Metro company. Metro is helping to plan an aerial gondola system to whisk baseball fans and concert goers from Union Station to Dodger Stadium in what it says would be a mere 7-minute trip, partially funded by former Dodgers owner Frank McCourt. The project ran about 40 feet above the this residence century meaning that every 30 seconds on game days, some 40 people packed in a train would pass outside their living room window. Yeah, God, that sounds like hell to me. Yeah, and okay, let me just tell you, okay, LA, because I don't have a car right now, I take public transportation everywhere. LA transportation system needs help already, okay? You can spend that money on improving, first of all, like increase the lines that we run. Second of all, yeah, I mean, let's just keep it cleaner than
Sure,
it
let's
is
build
right now because that's like
a gondola.
huge let down, it's a huge turn off for people. I think if our public transportation system is cleaner and actually more convenient, meaning like more lines, I think a lot more people would use it. But I mean, we don't have money for gondola. I'm sorry.
And if it's that important, I mean, it pisses me off that they're literally helping him plan it. Like the publicly funded transit agency
Right.
is literally
And
helping
no
this guy
no
plan it.
public input, no public hearings. They okayed it. That's the thing
Because we
though.
don't live in a democracy, people.
No.
Again, continue to kid yourself at your own freaking risk or at your own.
Yeah. Well, the good thing they're being sued right now, though, because
Good.
I'm blaming the McCourt company, I guess. Yeah,
Oh, I did see
because
that. A nonprofit is actually taking them to court.
yep, yeah,
I
yeah.
did see that.
On the basis that no, they okayed this without any hearing, any input from the public at all, and so so
Not to
let's
mention,
just
I
hope
hate the
that.
Dodgers.
Oh,
I'm sorry, I had to mention that. I am still a born and raised San Franciscan baby, so screw the Dodgers. We don't like them. You know what?
okay.
I
I'm
don't. I
not
mean,
really biased, but I'm not really biased at that, like in that regard. But
oh,
hey, I mean,
I love LA. Don't get me
who needs
wrong.
aerial gondola?
Don't get me wrong. There's a special place in my heart for LA. It's somewhere here, but not the Dodgers. No, LA, not the Dodgers.
It's so funny, like how people are about their local baseball. I mean, local sport teams. Like I never really got that. Well, okay.
Hello. I happen to live in the city with the Giants. The
Oh, right.
Giants.
Okay.
Everybody
Sorry.
knows about the Giants. Come on. The Giants are the
Right.
best.
Okay.
Everybody knows the Giants are the best. Period. So naturally, I don't like the Dodgers.
Mhm.
Okay, folks. Well, that's all.
Yeah, so glad that we were able to close up on a light note.
Exactly, 100%. It was a lovely time seeing everyone. Have a great week. We'll
Yeah.
see you next Monday.
Thank you so much, everyone. Yep. Okay. See
Thank
you
you,
next
brother.
Monday. Thank you. Okay. So.